Hello everyone, here psst.one. Welcome back. First interview of the second season. We start as we finish with a head of a software and he also a director of a festival. I talk about Hendrik Wendler. He is the director of Genius Loci Festival. We had the opportunity this summer to be there. And also he is the CEO of MXWendler, one of the first video mapping software. But he will talk about it. So enjoy! How did you start with this word, the visual word?
When did it start? Actually, it started pretty long time ago. It was right after the fall of the wall. I came from West Germany to East Germany, and it was the complete society was completely built from ground up. And once again, I started studying architecture here at the Bauhaus University. And it was one of the largest and biggest adventure spaces I have ever seen. So we were one of the first, also here in Weimar, like in Berlin, to create one techno party after another. And we at the university, we were pretty creative. We were also visually creative, and we had some kind of projection gear. Nobody had that in the 90s. So we had these 100-kilo projectors, and we carried them around and made visuals in any kind with that. We continued that until I stopped my studies somewhere in 1999 or 2000. And after that time, I went through some design bureaus, and then I went to some architectural places, then I went to the university again here. And a few years later, we developed at the university some kind of the first prototype of mapping software. It was pretty amazing. And I personally, I created a software tool to do professional mapping. Was one of the first at all. And so the guys from the county here, from Thüringen, they discovered this, and they said, well, it's like the people here in Weimar, they are pretty well educated. They have a lot of ideas. We are a lot of creatives here and everything. And can you develop something to make this visible to the people outside? And so we developed this festival. And this festival is, as you may know, Weimar is pretty well known for a lot of important historical places, for Goethe, Schiller, the Weimar Classic, and we had Liszt here, we had, it's nameless, it's really nameless. The Bauhaus was here, but we also have Buchenwald, you know, we have the Gau Forum here, we have the GDR, all this history and everything. And so we developed a concept to combine this, to combine our historic heritage with modern media. And this concept resulted in the claim "Make Walls Talk" and our festival title Genius Loci, which is a Latin expression, and this Latin expression means it's the spirit of the location. So every year we make a competition, and that competition people are we make a call for an artist's view to some certain historic place.
The main focus of this festival is the mapping, alongside other experiences like installation, lectures, and audio-video performance. And my question is, what do fascinate you about the mapping?
Yeah, mapping is, I must say, it's something really special, and it's really magic. You know, I'm doing it since, well, it's 15 years now, and from the beginning, it was always, it had a certain magic, you know. It has a magic on many levels at the same time. It has a nerdy magic, you know, just to make your visuals match some kind of random object. That's fun, you know, it's just fun for the creator. And it has some kind of semantic magic, you know, for the people, because suddenly an object becomes a media, and you can put the second layer of some kind of content onto it, and you're on one way you're completely free. On the other hand, you're still, you know, you're not restricted to the object, but you're somehow focused to the object. So it's not just a random media or it's a random clip or something playing somewheres on it. It's media art. It's some art focused onto a location, onto an object, onto a situation, and that's why it's constantly working, constantly developing. And I've seen a lot of development in the recent years, also how the people are working with it, you know, just mapping freely, creating sculptural objects, you know, just finding weird spaces to do some mapping, even mapping, you know, on skin, you know, mapping on moving tissue. I've seen movies where people can realize 1,000 frames per second, you know, on your shirt. It's amazing technology, mapping on the skin like tattoos. So people are really working on it, and I think it's a part of our future. It's a part of our mixed reality, augmented reality, common media future. It's really a part about how computers and interfaces will mix up video mapping, stop being a toy or being entertainment and turn into a real application of the real world.
For this festival, every year you create an open call to find three artists that can work and make these three different mapping with a cool prize. Also, I would like to say, can you talk me about the winners of this year?
This year we have three really interesting work. I mean, one of the greatest work is this 4040, you know, doing the interactive generative mapping. They even had some live shows. They have this work, it's called Alchemy, and it's complete. I mean, go there, see it. You know, this is exactly what mapping means. You have to go to the location. You have to go there to the festival. You know, you have to see it live. You have to see it in that size, and then you will see how mapping can turn a building into some fluid and liquid stone. The other interesting work about the classic Weimar is what we have in this Haus der Frau von Stein. It's made by Multiscala. It's called Muse, and they have interestingly, they have a deep focus on composition, musical composition, and they turned the building into a stage, making a choreography of two characters, Goethe and Charlotte von Stein, and with its development through history. Because we have seen in the mappings in the years before that people tend to add effects and different cuts, yeah. But they're losing the focus on a common readable dramaturgy, you know. And they did this almost solely based on sound, on the musical composition and that division. It's a really impressive piece to see. The third nice location we have is also really impressive one, you know. It's a legendary work of our team. We had the modern building of the Bauhaus University Library, and it was not a call for a Genius Loci, it was a call for a fiction. So people should try to apply media architecture. And then we do this during a festival, and we all go there and imagine it's a permanent installation. The competition was very successful. A lot of people instantly understood what the question about, you know, and also showing it now, you know, as the work from 5 Elements, how they created this work, Inside Out it's called. It's a work that has they developed a font, and they turned mapping into a fantastic typography. They didn't only map the building, they read the metrics and the architecture, the size of the windows, and then turned it into a 50-letter font. It's really fantastic to see, also for us.
Have you already an idea of the next edition of this festival, the edition of 2019?
Yeah, well, 2019 will be a very special year for us. 2019 is a 100-year founding of the Bauhaus, and it's 100 years of the Weimar Republic, and both are pretty heavy topics, especially in these days we have right now. All over the world, the societies, everybody's asking about this. What is this democracy again? We were used to have a working democracy, some governments working, you know, and doing some voting, and suddenly everything is overthrown, and we have suddenly a growing right-wing movement, you know, just really shouting for different, and we have a lot of autocratic governments and stuff, and that's a very, very good reason to take a closer look at these historic movements 100 years ago. And also the Bauhaus was not only a design story, it was a society story. The Bauhaus was a, you know, how will going into a general design that touches and works for everybody. And design is supposed to help the people, and it is supposed to help a common society. So how do we design spoons and knives, houses and everything for everybody? And this is where the Bauhaus started, with pretty radical ideas which were completely misunderstood from 100 years ago. So especially, I mean, imagine it happened in Weimar 100 years ago. Imagine we had a gathering of the whole German democratic forces after the lost First World War, and at the same time 200 weird Bauhaus students doing some kind of reinventing the design and everyday world appearance. It was a pretty amazing time, and we will do our very best to repeat that time.
You are not only the director of Genius Loci, you are also the head of MXWendler, one of the first video mapping software. Can you talk to me about this software, the way that you prefer?
Yes, it's MXWendler software. It's first we started at the university to create it, and it was when I started, we had one of the first prototypes of programmable graphics hardware at the university, and I was talking to a VJ, and he told me about all this fascinating work with real-time video effects and shaders and everything. And I was talking about these graphics engines which can do picture manipulation at super high speed. And so, drinking a coffee, we came to the idea, why do not combine? And so we combined this, and at that time we were both teachers at the university, so we gathered a few students and we asked them to realize such kind of prototype, and the prototype was impressive. It was completely unusable because it was but if you got some pictures from it, it was like some 50 or 100 times faster than the fastest CPUs at that time. And yeah, we liked the concept, and then we started getting some funds from the state and then created the software around it. The software itself, it was at the beginning we were pretty VJing centered, and after that now it's become more and more a professional tool, and it's a combination between software and hardware. As a VJ or visualist, you may imagine that it's not really easy to combine and contact, for example, like 7, 8, 9, we have up to 16 outputs as a single computer system, and we're capable to do 16 times full HD rendering and layering up to 2 layers of 8K video media, do all this and mapping, and this is also doing this at all, and then doing this in a reliable and professional way. So, you know, we all started at the Matrox triple had to go or some gear like that, and now we shifted towards own solutions, which are, you know, you can turn them on and off again. You know, all these our installations, our tools are at museums, you know, and stuff like this, and it's running for years, you know, and it has to be super simple, you know, for somebody to turn it on, do the same mapping the whole day, and turn it off at the end of the day again, and then do this for day in, day out, you know.